Hi everyone, welcome to the Mythical National Championship game from 2022. We're going to play today on Final Score Football brought to you by the Downeys. And the matchup is going to face and include the 2022 Michigan Wolverines against the 2022 Georgia Bulldogs, a game that most observers would have certainly loved to have seen considering the outcome of Georgia versus TCU. And we're going to play this game again with Final Score Football. For those of you who do not know the game, it is a score-based game. It gives you a final score. You're rolling once per quarter for each team to get a final score. Now again, to some, that's enough in a football game. As long as they get a final score, wins and losses, they can play seasons, quick plays, etc. But this game is going to be a little different because we're adding to it our quick play football game scoring matrix that will actually break down those points into what actually happened in the game per quarter. And in addition to that, it will give us a chance, like in Scoreboard Football 2, a game that I have created, it will give you a chance to find out who actually scored for the teams and how long the scores were, because we also can figure out yardage and the length of any field goal. So that gives you more of the complete game, the icing on the cake. So let's bring you now the national championship, Mythical, Michigan versus Georgia, using the Downey Games Final Score Football 2022. And as, of course, before we even get started, there you can see there's how it works. There's what the final score looks like. Okay, teams are rated from A to Z, and you're rolling 2 dice, 11 to 66. Now, I changed the game around a little bit to make it even more interesting because I enjoy a lot of variables in my games. So as you can see, there are orange, yellow, and in some cases, even for the overtime, there are green sections in the game, which is variables about different scoring that occurs in different quarters where we have split ratings. First and third quarter, this scores, and second and fourth quarter, the team gets this amount of points. Because again, we wanted to change it, make it more of an opportunity to have variable scores. As many scores as can be possible, as many outcomes as what I always look for in my table dice games. So let's get started. Again, we're going to do a little different than most two. We're going to roll all 4 dice at one time. So all we're doing is rolling 4 times for the entire game as far as getting us to score. And then we'll be looking on the scoring matrix to see just how they scored in the game. And by the way, again, Downey's Final Score Football available from the Downey site. A season will cost you roughly about $10, $8 to $10. A very reasonable price for college or the pro game. And then with my scoring matrix, this is something that we use, the quick play matrix, that with the scoring breakdown, this can be applied to any quick play game where you just get scoring. And you want to know more details? For just $3.50, you can get the matrix and add it to as a complement to any quick play game and play it out and get the total picture of what happened in the game, as we're going to do here with the national championship. So we're going to roll first. Michigan, we're going to have them in the yellow, and the Georgia Bulldogs, of course, in the red to see who will score. All right, go first. It really doesn't matter. If we were rolling individually, it would matter, but we're not. But just for sake and purposes, 5-3. So Georgia would win the toss, and they would elect to maybe defer or go first. It has nothing to do with anything in Downey's Final Score Football. So let's get started with the first quarter ratings. Of course, we're going to have the red and the white represent Georgia. The red will be the lead die, and we're going to have the blue and the gold represent Michigan. And for the Wolverines' sake, the gold will be the lead die. So let's get started and see what happens. So we do 32 for Georgia. So if you look on Georgia, they are rated for this game after the adjustments. Georgia comes out a K rating. They're both K ratings. So we're going to look at the K column throughout the entire game. And Georgia rolls a 32. So 32 under the K column is a field goal. So we already know a field goal. We can't roll to see what actually happened. We know 3 points is a field goal. So that is what happened with the Georgia Bulldogs. They got a field goal, and I'll break it down for you and tell you exactly who got it, how many yards it was. Michigan, meanwhile, rolls a 22 on a K chart. Low numbers are not good scoring opportunities in final score football. You want high numbers. So 22 for Michigan is also a field goal. So both teams start with a field goal in quarter number 1. All right, remember, 1 roll per quarter. And let's look now. We look at the Wolverines. Let's look at their kicking game. Hopefully they didn't have multiple kickers. If they are, we're going to have to roll for it. Actually, they did. Jake Moody kicked field goals. He had all of their field goals, so that's good. So Jake Moody got it for Michigan. So we know that. So now what we're going to do, again, on these extra charts that we have through the scoring matrix, we're going to look and see, what did Mr. Moody do? We're going to need 2 10-sided dice for this to determine what happened in the game. And, of course, we got 1 10-sided die, and we got 2. Green will be the lead. So it's 0-0. It's 100. So now that is a 50-yard plus field goal. 51-yard field goal as we roll twice for Jake Moody. So that's what he did. So Jake Moody with a 51-yard field goal for Michigan in quarter number 1. Not too bad. That was a long one, but that puts Michigan on the board. All right. And now for Georgia, their field goal kicker, if you don't know by now. And don't worry, I don't know college football too well. I didn't follow as closely as I do each week with the NFL, but they had a lot of kickers. Let's see, they had, well, one. Okay, Jay Podlinski, he attempted 31 field goals, and Jared Zirkle 1. So I'm going to have to roll. So basically, a 1 to 98, he gets it, and he will. So it's Podlinski. All right. And he will get a field goal, and let's see what the length of that field goal is. It's going to be a 10 or 14, which is going to be a 38-yard field goal. So 38-yard field goal by Podlinski, 38 yards. Apologize for taking time and typing these all in. It'll be a little better now as we go through this. Podlensky. So the score after 1 quarter, we're tied at 3 between Michigan and Georgia. Much better game, obviously, already than the TCU-Michigan game. So we automatically go quarter number 2. Very simple. Again, 4 dice rolls. The only time you would add an extra dice roll if you get a big quarter, if the BQ comes up, then you're going to roll again. But here we go. So this time, a 56. Now, this is going to be high scoring for Georgia. 56 under the K column is good for 10 points. So we know Georgia gets 10, and Michigan rolls a 43. So Michigan with their 43 will be a 7. So at intermission, Georgia will take a 13-10 lead. Now we've got to look for it. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is for Michigan. We know that you need 2 10-sided dice for the matrix. We know out of 7, 1 to 99 is obviously the kick and the extra point, and that's good. Had it been a 100, Michigan would have scored on a field goal and 2 safeties in the quarter, which would have been very obscure. All right. Which would have been, of course, 3 plus the 4 is 7. But they get the touchdown and the extra point. So let's look at it right now for the Michigan Wolverines. Let's see how they put up their 7 points in quarter number 2. We simply go to Michigan, and we know that the quarterback, are we going to roll for the quarterback? We might have to, unless you want to automatically make it a certain quarterback. But you're looking at 22, 24 touchdown passes total. So it's likely J.J. McCartney. If it's up past 90, and it's not, so it's McCartney, it'll be a J.J. McCartney touchdown pass. And let's see who he's going to toss it to. All right. And again, all I'm doing here is I'm going to profootballreference.com, which goes to the college football game. I'm going on Michigan. I'm tabbing them and Georgia. Then I scroll down to scoring, and I click on the touchdown. It automatically puts me in order. So all I got to do then is roll the dice, look at the chart, and it will tell me which rusher, receiver, defender scored the touchdown. All right. In this case, we do that. We see it's 0-9, so it's a 9. And you look at 9 on here, and it's the number 5 receiver. So I go down to my number 5 receivers. You can go by touchdowns or catches. I like to go by total touchdowns. So we look, and the number 5 was Donovan Edwards. So Donovan Edwards, touchdown catch from J.J. McCartney. Donovan Edwards. All right. So we're going to type this in. Touchdown pass, J.J. McCartney. And from Donovan Edwards. McCarthy. And I know I'm a little slow doing this. I apologize. To Donovan Edwards. And the extra point by Moody is good, obviously. We said that. Moody with the extra point. And so Michigan has their 10. Now we got to look and see what Georgia did. We know they got 10, so we know we got a field goal, and I like to put the field goals first or the touchdowns. You can do it either way. It doesn't really matter. It's just total scoring. So let's just go ahead and do the field goal. See how long that field goal was by Podlinski. All right. We're going to roll. Again, we're going to roll our 100-sided die here. And we find that it is 10-11. So it's going to be an easy one now. 11. And it's going to be, there we go, 25-yarder. So 25-yard field goal by Podlinski. That makes it a 13-10 game. And let's look at that Georgia touchdown. And for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to go with Stetson Bennett to make it easier, because we know Stetson Bennett appeared in the game and played the entire game. So it'll be Stetson Bennett. We'll see who gets the touchdown. Let's roll for it. Okay. It's 78. So 78 on the matrix is the number 2 receiver here. And that's going to be Ladd McConkey. Ladd touchdown pass. Stetson Bennett to Ladd McConkey. And that gives Georgia the halftime lead at 13-10. And I apologize if it's boring you. I don't mean to. I'm trying to go as quickly as possible. We know that Podlinski makes the extra point. Podlesny. The extra point is good. And at intermission, Michigan leads it, or trails 13-10. Now we're going third quarter score. Again, very simple. In and out, quickly we play the game. Let's see what happens here. So we got Georgia rolls a 54. 54 on the charts. As you look, that's going to be a scoring chart. So 54, a 7-point. So that Georgia Bulldogs put up 7. All right, we know that's going to be a touchdown. And the extra point unless something obscure happens. And for Michigan, they roll a 22. Not good numbers again. It's only got to be a field goal. So the Wolverines continue to trail in the game. We know that Moody kicks the field goal, so let's find out the length of that field goal. Very simple to do. Again, we come here, we roll our two 10-sided dice, and we said, okay, he gets 12. So 12, there's a 20-some yarder. So Moody gets a 10. That's going to be 20 plus 10 is a 30-yard field goal by Moody. So Moody's kicked 2 field goals in the game. All right. And that's good enough for 3. So Michigan now with 13 on the board. And now you're looking at Georgia, who puts up a 7. Let's find out, make sure it is going to be a 7, the traditional way. And we've got, 87. That's certainly the case. The only thing that would have been different here is if it was a 100. Then you had 2 field goals and a safety in the quarter, which, again, the chance of that happening, slim to none, but there is a small possibility. So let's go now to our chart, our tab that we already have ready. What did it happen? What did we do? We got to look and see. We didn't do this the last time. We need to. I do have the pass and rushing touchdown ratio, okay? So we got to see what happens here. So Georgia, they're going to roll a 47, and a 47 is going to be a touchdown run. 1 to 41, as we figure based on numbers, is a touchdown pass, and everything past that is a touchdown run. So it's going to be a touchdown run for Georgia. All right, we didn't do that the last time. We needed to. So all you do here is you get into Georgia, which we have theirs. Now you look up rushing, touchdowns, click on the TD, and automatically puts them all in order. So you're ready to go. So is it Kenny McIntosh? He's the number 1 back for touchdowns. Let's see. The number comes up 76. So if you look on number 76 on our matrix, you're going to see that 76 is going to be to the number 2 player, and that's Stetson Bennett, who had 10 rushing touchdowns in the regular season. So Stetson Bennett's going to get the touchdown run. He keeps the ball himself, similar to what he did in the real national championship. Now we're going to roll to see how many yards that was. We didn't do that for J.J. McCartney here. We're going to do that this time. Okay, so let's do that right now. Let's see. Did we do that? No, we didn't do that for Stetson Bennett here either. We got to do this. So all you do here, just like we did on our scoring matrix with the field goals, we have to do that for the touchdowns. How long was the touchdown? First, let's do the Stetson Bennett run. So what we do is we're going to roll 2 6-sided dice. All right, it's a 12, so that means it's a short one on the run, goal line. We roll 1 D10, and that tells us how many yards. In this case, it's for 1. So Stetson Bennett, that was a 1-yard touchdown run by Bennett. Okay, and we know that Lizzie made the extra point, so Stetson Bennett with the touchdown. The extra point was good. Now let's backtrack just for sake of the game and see that Stetson Bennett, the McConkey touchdown in the second quarter. How long was that? First, what we got to do again is we got to roll the 2 6s. 34. We see under touchdown passing. 34 is a short touchdown. So we need a D10 and a D6 added together. And we got a 7 and a 2, so that's a 9-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter. All right. Now let's go back to the J.J. McCartney to Donovan Edwards touchdown in the second quarter and see how long that was, because we want to be accurate and up to date. 36 touchdown pass. Now that 36 again short, so we're going to go 1 and 1 and add them together. And that is a 6. So that was a 6-yard touchdown pass there in quarter number 2. So now we're all caught up. We're good to go. The score right now, Georgia 20, Michigan 13. So we got a football game. Let's see how it's going to end here in quarter number 4. As exciting as we thought it would be, it is. It has been just that here for the Mythical National Championship. One more dice roll to go unless we go to overtime. Michigan needs to come up with something. They need some big numbers. Are they going to get the big numbers? Here we go, the big roll. Oh, big numbers for both teams. 56. On the K chart, 56 for Georgia. That's going to be another 10-point score. So Georgia puts up 10. And for Michigan, they put up a 63. Isn't enough. 63 gives them 10, but it will not be enough to get the win. So Georgia's going to get the win. Let's look at these for both sides. Okay, we're looking at 10 points. So different things can happen under 10. There's 4 different possibilities of scoring for 10 points. First, we start for Michigan, 89. 89 is going to be a touchdown and an extra point with a field goal, the traditional way. So we got a TD and an extra point and a field goal. All right, we'll figure that out in a minute. Now let's look for Georgia. How did they get to their 10? They roll an 80, and that's going to be the traditional way as well. So both get the both touchdown and extra points and the field goal, but it's going to be Georgia winning in the end by a final score of 30 to 23. 30 to 23 final score. Georgia Bulldogs are going to win it. They're going to win the mythical national championship. So let's go ahead and find out how they scored. Let's go to Michigan first. All right, Michigan, let's look at the numbers. 1 to 36 is a touchdown pass. Everything else is a touchdown run on the 10-sided die. So it's a 70. So Michigan is a touchdown run. All right, so let's get that touchdown run, shall we? So we know Michigan gets a touchdown run. So we're going to go here, we're going to look, and we're going to click on the TD under rushing. Everything's in order. All right, so we're going to find out who gets it for Michigan. Total is, it's an 86. So an 86 is going to be a lower tier player on the chart. So 86, it goes to the number 4 rusher. And the number 4 rusher happens to be Khalil Mullins. Khalil Mullins, okay? Khalil Mullins scores the touchdown. Okay, let's write it down here. Khalil, M-U-L-L-I-N-G-S. Moody with the extra point, as we know he did not miss. Now we're going to find out the yardage of that touchdown run. We're going to roll again, 11 to 44. 11 to 66. And it's a 64, so this is going to be a bigger one. Possible long touchdown run. A D10, I can see a design draw play maybe. A D10 plus a D6 times it by 3. So we got a 5 and a 7. 5 and 2 is 7, so it's 7 times 3. That's a 21-yard touchdown run for Mullins. 21 yards. That was a nice touchdown run. Very exciting. But again, they're going to come up short. And now let's look at the field goal by Moody. Moody's field goal, as we see, will be worth 67. That's going to be a 30. No, 67 is going to be 40. 50-yard field goal by Moody. Nice field goal by Moody, but unfortunately not enough. Now, unfortunately, when you do this, it's exciting when you're rolling the dice, of course, to see what the score is, but we already know what the final is, and you're finding out who scored the particulars. I guess it's a little anti-dramatic and anticlimactic because you already know, but still a great game indeed. Now let's see how Georgia scored. First of all, was it Stetson Bennett with a touchdown pass? We'll see. It's 10-17. It is a touchdown pass, 1 to 41. So Stetson Bennett with his second touchdown pass of the game. So we click on the Georgia tab. Now we were in rushing, so now we got to go to receiving. How did he throw the touchdown pass? Who did he throw it to? Well, we see here it is a 49. So 49 on the chart is to the number 1 player, and there is Brock Bowers. So Brock Bowers, Stetson Bennett to Brock Bowers, as we would expect. And let's see who makes the extra point. Now let's see how many yards that touchdown pass was for. Let's do that quickly so I don't bore you guys anymore. Again, it's a touchdown pass, so we know it's 22. It's a short pass, so it's a D1 plus a 6-sided, and it's an 8-yard touchdown pass. So Stetson Bennett with a pair of touchdown passes and a touchdown run to boot. Nice outing for him for the national championship here, the mythical one. And we still have to know, Jake Polinsky, how long was that field goal that he kicked? So let's look at that. We see 39. It's 30 plus. Let's roll it for the 10 side. 30 plus 2. It's a 32-yard field goal to close out the scoring. Oh boy, what do we do here? Okay, I thought I lost everything. Can't you lose it all. This is official. Okay, field goal by Jake. L-E-S-M-P-O-D-L-E-S-N-Y. All right. So what I would like to ask you before we wrap up the scoring, please in the comments section of this Facebook Live broadcast, if you watch it live or on demand, please put in the comments if you'd rather just watch the broadcast live or on demand, or if you'd just rather see the box score. Because too often I don't know which way people like to go. The idea of me producing a video is to kind of show you how the game is played, so you get a gist of it, because we're a visual society who tends to understand games and instructions better when we see it rather than reading over it. But on the flip side, some people like the excitement of watching the build up to the game rather than just reading a box score. So if you would share that with me and with our audience, then I'll know which way to go in the future. But I just want to give you a mythical national championship between Michigan and Georgia, a game in which the Georgia Bulldogs come away with a 30-23 win, thanks in part to the efforts of one Stetson Bennett, who threw 2 touchdown passes, one of 9 yards and one of 8 yards, and he had a 1-yard touchdown run. And on the flip side, J.J. McCarthy did fire a 6-yard touchdown pass, and Mullins added a 21-yard touchdown run, but it just wasn't enough as the Wolverines come up shy by 7. This has been the Mythical National Championship, of course, brought to you by Scoreboard Games, where we're playing with Downey Final Score Football combined with our Quick Score Scoring Matrix. Have a great day, everyone.